Brightest blessings. My name is this is my shadowing assignment vlog. Um, I had a difficult time living outside of the city of Billings. Um, to find someone to shadow, I spent a great deal of time reaching out to. I started with Hot 1019 because I know the radio DJ um, from school way back when. And then I reached out to news stations, the Billings Gazette. I had a very difficult time, as I said, to find someone to shadow. Um, I became aware of a nonprofit organization that does a monthly newsletter. And so I did end up shadowing them on Friday, April 21st, um, which was actually I rather enjoy because it's a very small and intimate. Not really a company, it's more of a fellowship. It's a group of about 150 individuals who get together for different conferences, meetings, um, coffee to kind of throw ideas around and see what they could do for the community, for volunteering, planting trees, gardens. It was a really earthy feel for the group. I shadowed Mrs. Scheffelman. She is the office manager, editor, press secretary, accountant. She does it all. It's a really intimate group, so there's one person that pretty much does everything. Um, she was very knowledgeable. She was very nice. The whole group was. I spent a lot of time with Charlene. She she does a lot of the news articles and whatnot. That's 90%, 95% digital. There's very few actual printings, which I was kind of a little. I didn't really like that much. I wanted to kind of see how they would bind it, how they would send it out, how the whole process would go. Um, she has a different setup than I've ever used when making a newsletter or a header for a letter, um, envelopes for office use. It was a little different for me, coming as a secretary background that I have. Um, I did like that it was, like I said, intimate. There was a lot of things that were, I guess, could be construed as biased, which was a little uneasy. But at the same time, they had personal views that I could acknowledge, that I could see. Their their newspaper for the month of April is about 8 pages. It runs between 8, 10, sometimes 12 pages long, and it's just you probably can't see it with my phone, but it's just a small newsletter speaking about different things that are going on in the city of Billings, around Billings, in Hardin or Shepherd. Um, even goes to Laurel. Um, and there's like a full calendar of things that are going on. So if you kind of space something and you have that handy, you can look it up. Go, oh yeah, I wanted to go to that. I wanted to meet with those people. I wanted to set these ideas apart. How we can reach out to these senators on this different things. So I found that was kind of interesting. I didn't so much like that she doesn't actually able to go out and talk to people about the stories that she's writing on. The things are given to her essentially secondhand. Um, that's why I kind of think the bias might come in a little bit, where she's unable to get all of the information I think would be possible to get. But essentially, her boss is like, here, this is what we have. This is what I want you to write. Put it in your words. So I guess that was a little hard for me, because I do have a little misgivings about who is telling what and what's real and what's not real with just the way our society is. Um, I fully enjoyed having the small space that she works in. It was a small office with 3 desks, one with a computer, one with a laptop, one with a printer and all the binder, the paper cutter, shredders. So, I mean, I liked the small space. just because I'm a small person, but that's just a personal thing. I did like that her bosses were not always standing over her, just kind of, I guess, breathing down her neck, essentially, making sure that she's doing exactly what they want, where she had a little bit more freedom to play with some things. Um, I did. I didn't really like the fact that even though it is a small group, um, not everybody could go and just pick up a paper. Um, there's about 150 members, um, and they all get a copy digitally, but they can also pick one up in the office if they wanted to. So I mean, it is there, but not everybody knows that it's there. Some of the volunteering that they do, I would thoroughly love to do, had I known that that was an option. Now that I know it's an option, and now that she knows that other people can fully come to the shop and pick up a paper, it's free. So I mean, that is kind of that's something that's nice to know now, but beforehand she didn't know how to market that out so people would know, or where she could drop a couple papers off, or if she could drop a couple papers off. So I mean, she's new at this, so it was kind of a learning experience for both of us, and she was very excited to be able to be shadowed by someone and have the, I guess, promoting of the newspaper. And it is called Valley's Voice, um, and it is part of the Universalist Unitarian Fellowship, and it is in Billings, Montana, on Central Avenue, um, and it's a very quiet group. They don't have one belief to the other. They don't think strictly one way. They like to have the conversations about everything, which I really enjoyed. Knowing that you can have, I guess, sometimes a heated debate over something and still walk away feeling like, okay, my voice was heard, and my concerns were heard. So sometimes I find in our own community that that's kind of a hard place. Um, but I also live outside of Billings, so it's extremely hard for me to even get into Billings. And knowing that there is a place to go that I can do that with is nice. And maybe some other people will find that that's a good thing for them as well. I try not to follow the Billings Gazette too much because I have a hard time with it. A lot of mistakes have been made, and sometimes they don't pick up on it, even though they're saying, hey, look at this. Mistakes were made. Everybody's human. I get that. A lot of the news stations I don't watch. And until this class, I didn't watch news, just because I found it very difficult to watch. I did follow Big J with Hot 1019 just because I know him from school and I trust him. Trust is a big thing for me, and I'm sure it is for other people, so I have a hard time I take everything with a grain of salt anymore. And I want our community to be better than it was, and that it maybe is at this point. But we've come a long way, and so I have enjoyed being able to shadow Miss Scheffelman to see that a lot of change has happened, and there are some people that are able to get around to talk about it and find ways to make it better. Um, and with that, that's a group that I think could be beneficial for others if they knew it was there. So maybe giving her a little bit of promoting, I guess, and by shadowing her, that was quite exciting to see. To see the excitement on the people's face, going, "Oh, so you're here for a news class," and not realizing, you know. So it was very rewarding at the same time. I didn't learn as much as I had hoped to. I would like to have seen the hustle bustle of a newspaper or a newsroom, but it was rather difficult, and it was kind of too bad. I just wish I could have gotten more response from those groups. But when it comes to the Universalist Fellowship, they were fantastic. They were open arms and welcoming. Every knowledge I could get from them, they willingly gave. And the thing I can say is they told me that they're not perfect. They all make mistakes, and that sometimes the news isn't what they want it to be, and that they strive to be better. And that's really essentially what I look for in news and knowing what's going on in our world and in our town and in our state. So knowing that's out there was a really good thing for me, and I really enjoyed it. So I thank you for your guys' time, and I look forward to the rest of this class. Have a good day.